This is Issues at Hand on Church of Uganda Family TV. It's a Friday, and of course, when it comes to a Friday, we have a member of the police force to address us on issues that are at hand in our communities. My name is Bruno Edgar. Welcome once again. Now, if you want to participate in today's conversation, please send us a WhatsApp message on 0787 447 684 0787 447 684, and Afande will address your comments and your queries. Now, as parents, as we may well know, that our children are returning home for holidays, and so today we want to talk about safety. How can we keep our children safe as parents when it comes to their holidays, and especially keeping them away from crime and keeping them away from being victims of crime? What role do we as parents have when it comes to the safety of our children? Now, I am joined once again by the Assistant Commissioner of Police, that's Anatoly Muleterwa. He is also the head of community policing at police headquarters in Naguru. Welcome back to Issues at Hand. Thank you for coming once again.
It's a pleasure, my brother. Good morning once again. Our esteemed listeners and viewers out there, good morning. Happy being back on Family TV on an issue of our concern. You have brought me a topic which is quite interesting and which I hope our listeners out there will be part of the debate and conversation. Bwana Bruno, do you know that the greatest gift God has ever given man is life? Life. And besides that, he gave this gift of life to man with the responsibility. But maybe take you back in the Bible. I think in the book of Samuel or the book of Kings, I'm not so sure, but around there was a gentleman, a very pious man called Elkanah. And Elkanah had two wives, Leah and Hannah, both of whom were very faithful, very loving. Hannah was childless, while Leah was a mother. She had many children. So at time T, Hannah longed for bearing a child. She continued praying all the time in a very devoted manner. Her husband Elkanah was equally very faithful to her. He loved her. But like the custom or norm at that time, you had sacrifices to present in the temple depending on the number of people who were behind you. So whenever Elkanah would give portions of sacrifice to both Leah and Hannah, Leah would be given the sacrifice including that of her children, whereas Hannah would be given alone. This kept on dogging Hannah, but she remained faithful, prayerful, and devoted. Eventually, the Lord God rewarded Hannah with a child. And the name that child was called Samuel. Samuel simply means, at last laughter is over and joy is restored. So for those of you who are called Samuel, I hope you'll be able to pick on from there. I'm not about the meaning of Samuel and the like, but I'm talking about the essence of giving birth, and the responsibility of the children, parents. From then on, Hannah took on the role of one, mentoring, protecting, and committing Samuel to the service of the Lord. What a responsible parent was in Hannah. From then on, what do I want to tell those who are listening and those who are viewing us on this TV? That whenever you produce a child you produce is not a luxury. It is a gift. Every life you bear on earth is a gift. And you as parents out there, when you desire to say, I am a woman of age, I am a man of age, I want to produce, that life you struggle to bring on earth is a gift. And remember, in Genesis chapter 1 verses 28, that we are made in the image, not in the clay, not in the form, but in the image of God. So the child you produce is in the image of God. And therefore, you have the mantle, you have the responsibility of shaping that child into what you think he or she should be. And what you think he or she will be able to preserve that image in her, which is a semblance of the Lord God. Back to the contemporary world, conscious of that, I am aware that many parents there are happy seeing back their children from school. Thank you. And to you teachers, thank you for the work done. You have done your work during this holiday. And I'm aware the toll of COVID-19, where many of us had a long time with our children, some of who became indisciplinado, but again we prefer to take them back to school in the same way. Now that the teachers have done their best during this second term holiday, during this second term studies, and now our children are back, I'd like to use this opportunity to invite parents to play a parental role. And the parental role is just not a matter of showbiz. You know, my brother, we have this tendency, because of the era of modernization, we want to impress ourselves and impress our children that they are better off. You buy them smartphones. You want to take them to, when you go for social evenings, you want to take them. You want to, that is not responsible parenting. Responsible parenthood demands of 4 things out of you. Please, dear parents who are there, demands 4 things of you. The first one is that you have produced that child. The second one is you must protect that child. In protection, here is where you used to play the do's and don'ts for that child. Please, my child, don't do this. Please, my child, do this. Don't impress your child, young as, you know, my brother, one time I saw a kid of around 3 years with a Pilsner beer. And the mother was there, very joyful. Say, Onyoachi, Kawa Makatia, Anyaka Kuwade. And the mother was very happy. That is not responsible parenting. That is totally irresponsible. And at the same time, it's very irregular for you to give your child alcohol. The consequences of it are very there. Remember, this child's brains, this child's body, this child's total stature does not match to what you are compelling that child to. And that is not what we need by protecting. When you are to protect a child, you protect such a child from any possible danger. Danger against harm, danger against diseases, danger against bad groups that could be able to influence such a child, danger from exposing any possible harm to that child. And therefore, this is it. Devote time for your child during this time. And I want to tell you that if you want to leave a legacy worth remembrance of, like that of Hannah and Elkanah through Samuel, be as responsible with the example of Hannah. Especially for mothers and for you fathers. After all, it takes 2 to entangle. Children are produced by 2 people, not 1. 2, a mother, a father. you are demanded of, besides, three. One is production, two is protection, three is mentoring stroke nurturing. Please nurture that child. That child can be compared to clay. You know, if you need a very fine pot, you need to prepare, you need to mash the finest form of clay in which you will need to mold that pot into. Equally so is this child. From childhood, it takes this child to begin learning, to begin getting exposure, to begin being shaped by you, by me, by us. A child is learning is through exposure and cognitive, the brain. What we expose this child to is very important. In nurturing, this is where you are called upon, especially to teach morals to these children. First of all, be an example to the child yourself. If you are to sit decently. If you are to eat decently. If you are to dress decently. If you are to buy cosmetics, please buy those cosmetics, which makes this child proud of you. If you are to walk in a manner that is impressive to this child. All those are morals. Most importantly is that devote time for the Lord God, especially through prayers. Go to church, have family prayers, have come together prayer sessions. You know, we call them obubondo.
The fellowships.
Yes, fellowships. Have them, but again, have fellowships that are productive, not counterproductive. Above all, teach this child the essence of work. You know, the Bible is very clear. In the book of Thessalonians, when Paul writes to his readers, he says, those who do not work must not eat. So in essence, work is also a God-given role. Teach this child. Don't teach this child begging, like we are seeing. You know, some of you are out there, and as soon as your children come out, you begin, go to your uncle, ask him for a pen, ask him for this. You never know. The uncle could have had now a mindset which is even totally adulterated. He doesn't even have any more attachment to you, doesn't even have any more attachment to your child. He will even go there and say, please, the uncle, come. In essence, you know, one time I had a child, and I told him, please, this is your uncle. And then the child said, okay. Then I gave him a session to talk to the child. Then the man said, meaning that this man was taking pride in not being educated. And that kind of irresponsible talk is what sometimes we expose our children to. But above all, when we do this, I want to emphasize on the essence of protection, because that's where I foremost. Dear parents, at this time in holiday, you need to protect your child and tell him or her that safety and security starts with her. Give her the rules. Don't walk at night. Don't walk alone. Don't walk in black spots. When you are moving, please seek for permission. Don't expose yourself to this smartphone. You know, we have some parents who even desire to buy these smartphones. Please, these don'ts are don'ts of insecurity. When you allow your children to be exposed to, one, online sexual abuse is on these smartphones. Violent extremism and radicalization starts from here. Some heterosexual relationships are generated here. And in essence, it is just simply because you as a parent has not done the best. 2, avoid sending your children for goods in the wee hours. You're sending your child, please go and do this, please go and do this, please go and do this. Go to your uncle, go. The good thing is that, in the previous week we have had a scenario where a young girl of senior 2 was abducted. And who are those behind that? The auntie, the uncle, the what? The mother. Simply because the mother thinks that it is still fashionable as a culture for a child of 14 years to be abducted and married off. No.
What can you say to parents who have that mindset because for many parents, one of the reasons why teenage marriages, forced marriages are happening is because some of the parents are looking for cattle, or some of them want money from the person who they are forcing their child to marry. So what can you say about that to parents who might be thinking that or who are practicing that?
One is that culture is progressive, and culture progresses with the time. I would not want to say that culture is outdated. No, culture is progressive with progressive times. At the time when such early childhood marriages were happening, it was good as a practice, especially in among some tribes in western Uganda. It was a pride, it was a joy for them to marry off girls. However, in the current Uganda, where the rule of law is much pronounced and practiced, such acts of irresponsible parents where you want to force a child to go into early marriages as early as 10 years, and even want to take pride and say, even after all, for me, I got married off when I was 13. Yes, happy at the times when you married off at that time. And at that time, Uganda was not as it is now. Uganda, as of now, is a country governed by rule of law, where protection of the minors and the vulnerable, we have what we call the vulnerable categories. And who are those? Children, girl children, especially girl children before the age of 18. And even if you are above 18, but you are vulnerable, or you are seen to have some kind of incapacity, whatever. Women, the refugees, those are categories of vulnerable people. But in the category of this nature, where parents connived to, especially the mother and the auntie and the uncles, it is an offense. It's an offense, and therefore an offense in an act of abduction and defilement, which are even capital in nature, for which you stand to be tried for. Please allow that child to grow up to a moment when she or he, because in this regard, when we are talking about abduction and we are talking about defilement, there are categories of offenses that cater for both boys and girls. So please stop being an accomplice in the commission of crime of that nature. You will be charged. I'm happy that our sister security agencies and the police were able to recover that girl, and she's in safe hands. This should be a warning to all, because I know and I'm aware that in some societies where parents have challenges of protecting and feeding their children, they end up exposing their girl children to older men to go and marry. Please, both the old man and the parents or any other party that will be involved in such an act, it is an act of criminality which is punishable by the laws of this land. So please avoid such complices. But you see, what I need to call upon our listeners, if you are faced with challenges, don't die alone. Seek for counsel, seek for guidance. Relate with the people that matter. You can talk to your LOCs, you can talk to other elders, you can talk to those in authority, and they'll give you a solution. And above all, please get to know that is your responsibility. The primary responsibility to protect those children starts with you. Stop this business of projecting, government, since government introduced the rights, so it is a government take. No way. Let me tell you, when you produce those children, you never apply to the police, you never apply to government, you did it at your own. Therefore, the primary responsibility is by you as a parent.
And that is very key, because when it comes to the parental role in holidays, it's a big topic of discussion, and it's a big issue, because the last time I remember you talked about the toll of the COVID-19, and during the lockdown we saw that it was an issue for children to be at home and be away from school. Many of them were forced into marriage. Some of them were forced, especially the teenage girls, were forced, ended up getting pregnant, many by their own family, being impregnated by their own family members. And then many dropped out of school because they decided to either go and find money in other ventures. So it's very important, like you are saying, that when it comes to the holidays, that as parents we ensure that we nurture our children, that we protect them, and we keep them away from anything that may harm them, or we keep them away from people and influences that may cause them to become perpetrators of harm. And on that topic, something you shared with me before we started issues at hand is the topic of peer influences and crime. That like you said, many parents might be there and it's holidays, they don't know where their children are, they don't know where they have gone, who they have gone to see, and sometimes these children end up being influenced by the wrong people, and they find themselves either in harm's way or being perpetrators of crime.
Yeah, it is true. You know, a child grows up and is influenced into stages. In Lusoga, we say, embwa ento etwala masonto malire ga mama wayo, meaning a puppy learns how to spot or imitates how to spot from the mother. So the primary influencer of a child are the parents. The way you behave, the way you talk, the way you do whatever influences that child into what he or she will be. Equally so, if a parent is a criminal, there are very high percentages that even the children you produce will take to. If a parent is a drunkard, there are high opportunities that the children will also take you on. Unless other factors like the community, because the community, when it plays a very great role through elders, through clergy, through aunt, who try to tell and build esteem in this child and say, please, don't do this. This is bad. Do you see this one? Then the child also gives, like my father, I don't like. Then that you realize that the society is taking toll. And most important, from the parent, then the guardians or community, are the peers. Peers.
Before we get to peers, on parents, I'm reminded of that story that was making rounds in the news a week or so ago, about a child who was heavily involved in crime in the city. And the interesting thing about that story is that the mother of this child knew and actually used to encourage the child to go and partake in these crimes.
Yeah, it is true. For example, of recent, by the way, you have brought something very important, which I needed to share with our listeners. Currently, because of the breakdown of parental values and responsibility, many young children have now joined criminal gang groups, and as such are shaping the toll of criminality in the communities there where you are. Take an example that when a mother does not provide for a child, and knowing that this child must feed, this child must sleep, this child must dress, the child will look for how he or she must fend, and by so doing ends up into groups which influence him or her to be what she is. Of recent, we saw a toddler of 6 years, and by the way, even by law, there is no offense is where a 6 toddler can be taken to prison. Nothing. In our laws, the provision is that a person is criminally liable as long as it's 12 years. 12 years. Now, one who is below 12 years, however much the society will know and regard him to be a serial offender, there is no offense for such a child. Meaning, it is obligation of the parents. But of recent, we are seeing it is fashionable for parents to abrogate their responsibility and allow some of these children to participate in criminality. Like that boy who was being, he had been kind of indoctrinated to act in acts of crime by pretending to be vulnerable, that he lacked direction of where he was going. Yet in actual sense, it was a besetting act of crime. Then when you become a sympathizer, you allow that child to come, only to end up the child opening the doors for other bigger criminals to enter and steal all your property. This was as a result of failure by the parent. And the mother was there. This is all conduct studied from home. So, any person you want of shape, if you want Bruno who will be a presenter on Family TV, or Muletera who is in the Uganda Police Force, all these are a replica of values from the family, are a replica of values from the parents, because they took time to nurture us, to talk to us, to guide us, to inculcate in us the values of work. Now, of recent, we have criminal gang groups which have built up. I don't know if they have ever heard of Chigali. And the Chigali, you think it is, it comes just simply from the verb, the word Chigali, the one which is pushed. Yes, that there is somebody who leads it and then it follows. So, when you get the slang Chigali, you may think it is this ordinary Chigali. No, it is the slang for criminals, especially young children of the ages between 10 to 14 years, who move in an order of a bicycle. But while they move, they have a command structure, they have a target, they have where they are going, they have where they start from and where they plan from. They have an operational plan and how they do it. But the question is, when these children do all of that, where are the parents? Where are the local leaders? Where are the general community as such? Because everything has now turned. The police has not done this. The police has failed to do the police. My brothers and sisters, security and safety of a child is in the hands of 4 organizations. One, in the hands of 4 parties. 1 is the parent, 2 the LOC, 3 the relatives, and 4 the probation officers. Police per se does a guiding role in as far as provision of the law is concerned, but the primary 4 are those parties.
And police comes in after an offense has happened.
Yes, because by the way, for us, we are not talking about the welfare of a child, and yet the welfare of the child are the trigger factors for criminality. And these 4 parties are supposed to do that. So if a child's welfare is not catered for, such a person ends up doing the same. So the spread of the different criminal gang groups, the most recent being the Chigali, the Bukorwa. Definitely the Chifes crew has now metamorphosized into these other groups, and so many others. As a result of you parents out there, and especially you, when it comes to roles and responsibility, to think it is not your duty to do that. Please, dear parents, let's think about what we are planning to do, and let's plan about the future, knowing the fact that the way you will be able to leave a legacy in this world is through the child that you plan to produce.
That's true, and that's on peer influences and lack of monitoring of our children as parents. So it's very pertinent that we monitor our children's activities, we know who they are with, where they are going, and most importantly, we follow up on their welfare, ensuring that they are well taken care of. But Afande, before we go into a quick breather, the issue of digital security and digital safety for our children, that many of our children are becoming victims of offenses like human trafficking, sexual harassment, and also are becoming perpetrators of crime because of the fact that they have phones, they have tablets, they have laptops, and it's so easy for them to get caught up in this online world, especially when it comes to vices and crimes.
That's very important, my brother. Every era and every innovation in this world comes with advantages and disadvantages. You know, like we brought about in the 19th century, we're talking about the 19th century and 20th century. We're talking about the Industrial Revolution, the handlooms and all that, the heavy industries and the light industries, where the locomotives and all of those heavy vehicles began to be manufactured. In the 21st century, as of now, we are in the era, the era of information technology, a revolutionized world where information is at your fingertips. Happy at the time, you know, my brother, when we were studying, we were taught mental mathematics, where a teacher would ask you abruptly, 10 times 10, you give him mental answer, 100, 200 times 50, 1 million. You know, mental. You know, we were being taught to use our brains to be very quick in giving quick answers. These days, in the era of technological innovation and revolution, the world no longer relies on mental arithmetics. No way. We are talking about technology at the fingertips of everybody, as long as you have the money. And for especially parents who have the money, they are able to buy phones for their children. It's good for communication. They are able
for education.
Yes, because there is a lot of information on that. It's good. They are able to give them TVs, smart screens in every home. They are able to create CCTVs everywhere. They are able to share apps on your phones. That's good. But it is not better, because the consequences of that are very dire. Whereas you as a parent has the ability to select what is good and applicable for you to download on the phone. This is not the same with your child. The child instead will go for things that you don't like most in life, because they are captivating. because according to her or him, it makes him or her high. And remember, the ages of these children is an age of stress and storm, the age of adolescence, where proper decisions are not made. So while that is done, there are a lot of dangers that have come along with this technology. And this is really where I want to call upon my fellow parents to play a positive role, especially in being a regulator on the applications, especially the apps that some of your children download. Two, some of this...
Father, we'll have to put a pin in that for now and continue on that point after this quick breather. And after as well, we are going to hear from you, our family members and our viewers and parents out there. We'd like to hear from you. Please feel free to ask your question on 0787-447-684. And we want to discuss together how we can rectify the issue of children being either perpetrators or victim of crime during the holidays. Keep it locked here. Issues at hand on Church of Uganda Family TV. You are watching Issues at Hand. It continues here on Church of Uganda Family TV, and we are talking about security and safety for our children during the holidays, but especially from us as parents, and we are discussing what our role is in terms of nurturing them, protecting them, and ensuring they do not fall into the wrong hands in terms of people who get them into gangs and turn them into perpetrators of crime, or falling in the wrong hands and becoming victims of crime. Now, my guest for today, if you have just joined us, is the Assistant Commissioner of Police. That's Mr. Anatoly Muleterwa. He is also the head of community policing at police headquarters Nakuru, and he has been telling us that as parents we have 4 key roles: production of the children, protection, and nurturing, to ensure that our children come out in the way that God wants them to come out, because our children are a gift from God. Now it is time for us to get into your comments and the questions that you have shared with us on our WhatsApp number. Thank you for always getting in touch and participating in the conversation. Now I will start from Kabito Stella, who is from Kamengo. She asks, what is the police strategy on the increased number of holiday makers in the cities with the high crime rate? She's asking for the strategy now that there's the numbers have increased in the city because children are back. What is there? Is there a plan for police in terms of ensuring maintaining security, law and order with especially vis-a-vis the high crime rate in the city?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go to the issue, before I respond to the issue of Stella, I was developing another issue that this social or information technology is more passive than active. And you see, the English have an adage: a healthy body in a healthy mind moves with work. Some of these non-communicable diseases which are affecting our children are entirely because of the poor adaptability to technology or influence of technology, where some children grow up and end up being obese, end up having funny health, whatever. So because of this, so please learn this kind of technology. It's being passive. It's very detrimental. The other effects are online sexual abuses, things to do with radicalization and violent extremism, online learning of diverse sexual behaviors. You ask yourself, your child is not asexual, is heterosexual, but you find that he is being influenced because of the technology and the apps there. Then the issue which Bruno has hinted on, the issue of trafficking in persons, is also very, very important. Learning on smoking of weeds, all of these are characteristics which has related to this. Now, to get back to what Stella is saying, that Stella is good. But you see, if we want to be very active in preventing some of these occurrences, we should not always ask what the police has done. Instead, we act when we are with you. Because one, these things are planned by some of you. They are planned by your people there. Two, it is the children who go there without us knowing. Three, it is sometimes they are advertised when we are not even aware. So whereas the police has a role to play, a greater role is to be played by you. I am aware, just like you are aware, that people are organizing what they call holiday bashes. And because they are interested in money, they don't even select the kind of age group which comes.
Actually, that's a good point to start on, because another Stella, by the way, who is called Mama Stella from Namugongo, asks, many media houses have holiday concert commercials. Is the police aware of the evils in these concerts and parties?
Yes, we are aware, but you see, let me tell you, when these people plan for that, they don't inform us. But when we get the information, we act or respond. What I need you to do, especially Mama Stella of Namugongo, when you hear such information, please help us inform the nearest police or even the LOCs, because there are certain age category that are supposed to join or to go for those holiday bashes, while children of a certain age are not supposed to be participants in that. Now, to answer more positively the response of Stella, what the police is doing, especially through my department of community policing, the first thing is information awareness or raising awareness. Like I am here. I am giving general information for you so that you become more conscious, and in case you need anything specific, you can call us or reach out to the nearest police. Two, we are calling to all parties that are concerned, please, when you are organizing, be the first line of security to avoid the children taking part in those bashes. Otherwise, if they enter and we are informed that they are part of them, the first person we shall arrest will be you, the organizer. And the consequences to that effect are very there. So please be conscious. Three, parents, do your best to monitor your child, to mentor your children, to ensure that if you are to give them money to buy a specific item. Don't give a person. You know, there was a person who used to give his child part of items to take was pocket money. And which kind of pocket money? In terms of millions of shillings. What is a child going to use the millions of shillings at school? What is
Things
it?
are expensive these days, even at school.
So?
And there's no food.
No, wait.
The food in some of these schools is not enough.
Bruno, let me get to know from you. Which kind of market is at school? Is there a supermarket? Is there any form of a market? What they have at school, and most times in these institutions of learning, are canteens. And canteens provide the basics of life. Water, a pen, a book, not even a panel. So what are you giving your child that money for? They end up even packing some of the children unnecessary things. Do you know that some instances, some of the parents pack warranty for their children? When a child is going to school, you think he's taking the necessities of school. They cut a pillow, fix a bottle of warranty in the middle of a pillow, they take. They cut a pillow, fix there a bread with cocaine in it, they take. So for you, when you are admitting a child, you see a pillow. But in a pillow, there are things which are very unnecessary. You see children coming back from home, very violent. The violence which they used to view on TV, they want now to practice it at school through their parental influence. Now when you call a parent to come and answer for son, say, my child is not like that. Yet when you begin studying, especially when you begin investigating through peers, we saw that child with the bread, when we ate it, it did this, and so on. So please, Parents all out there, don't send your children with things that are not required by the school.
Talking about money and children, Seremba Mark from Chanja asks, aren't we going to see a lot of child marriages due to the economic bite in the parents' incomes? What is the police up to?
No. On the contrary, you see, let me tell you people, there is nothing the two are not related at all. It is all about our weaknesses in morals. I am here. Personally, the first time for me to propose to a woman was when I was 27 years. 27 years. Why? You mean I was not I was not a man to begin even creating a relationship before that? No. My parents told me, please do the right thing at the right time. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the writer is very clear. There is time for everything. What is disturbing most of us is that we are in rush as if the world is ending. You want katoko, you want this, you want, please do everything according to time. To time. You see what most fundamental, which I always ask. You see a mad man, a mad woman producing a child. Even if for you has gone to school, you begin producing irresponsibly. Can't you create a difference between you who has gone to school and you who has not gone to school? And appreciate that there are certain things which must be done according to program. So please, my brother out there, do the right thing at the right time with the right person.
Now talking about what police is doing, I have a good question here from Sylvia Nancha, who is from Nigeria, who asks, is the police ready to create a child-to-parent liaison office to handle the anticipated child abuse cases this holiday?
We have a Department of Child and Family Protection, and one of the roles of this department is to ensure that child's rights and safety are upheld in liaison with the parties I've mentioned. We, or I, as the head community policy, my work is to raise awareness, especially to parties that are involved, so that they become more conscientized, they become more aware, they become very vigilant, and report such instances to us. In instances that parents have abrogated their responsibility and we get that information, we swing into another form of operation or enforcement of the law through arrest, through detention, and other prosecution mechanisms in order to address that matter. But in essence, information is power.
Information is power, and Afande, as we come to the close of issues at hand, please inform us, what is police doing about getting ready to receive all these cases that may come as a result of the holidays, and what advice do you give to parents on ensuring the safety of our children as the holidays commence?
To the parents I've given them, a word is enough for the wise. Learn from the example of Hannah and other examples in the Bible. We have in the New Testament Elizabeth. We have in the New Testament Mary. All of those are examples of responsible parents. We have outstanding contemporary women whom we can learn from. Please, never allow your child to make a decision which is very repugnant. Any person, even in myself, at even my age, I seek for guidance, I seek for advice, I seek for counsel. So please do that. To us as the police, we shall intensify our dialogue, our engagement, our conversation with those that are concerned and those that matter. I have 270 community liaison officers countrywide, and one of our campaigns that we have centered on is vigilance on raising awareness to the parents towards this holiday so that parents can protect their children. There is no amount of excuse that you give that you say I was looking for money, you say I was doing this, you say I was doing this in order to abrogate your responsibility. If you want a heir who will not sell your land, including your grave, start now. Now. But if you want a child who will be able to sell your grave and even come caning your grave, take it for granted. So as community liaison, we are going to have community visits, radio talk shows and TV talk shows right now. We shall have visits to institutions of higher learning. We are conducting meetings with stakeholders, including the LOCs and other government agencies, in order for us to play a role. After all, we have a role in developing this country. And development of this country depends entirely on people who are law-abiding and God-fearing. May the Almighty God bless you and continue to protect you for God and my country.
Man, thank you so much, Afande, once again for coming to Issues at Hand this Friday and for addressing this pertinent issue of the parental role when it comes to ensuring safety, the safety of our children this holiday. Now, we're getting into the weekend, so my advice to parents out there to add my voice to what Afande had to say. As we go through the weekend, as we prepare to enjoy the weekend, please use the weekend to spend some quality time with your children. Let us nurture our children. Let us protect them. Let's pray with them. Let's provide for them. And let us nurture them and mentor them and disciple them in the way that they shall go, so that they should not depart from it when they grow up. Now, it's very interesting and very crucial that we do that. Thank you for joining us on Issues at Hand this Friday. We meet again on Monday. I know by the time we meet, we are going to have good testimonies about the weekend we had with our children. Once again, my name is Bruno Edgard, and Issues at Hand is proudly brought to you by Church of Uganda Family TV. God richly bless you.